In Washington, a day of solemn reflection and remembrance. A live look right now inside the Capitol Rotunda as people pay their respects to former President Jimmy Carter. The 39th president is now lying in state in the U.S. Capitol. Our Cheryl Preheim joins us live from the Capitol. Cheryl, what's the atmosphere like around the Capitol grounds?
Ariana, I'd say a deep respect and gratitude, and also the sense of an end of an era. We want to take you back inside, looking live in the Rotunda. One thing we noticed is when those doors reopened to the public at 7 a.m., there was already a line, and people have been coming through to take a moment at the casket since that time. We've seen people of all ages, all backgrounds. We've seen many tears and a deep respect there as people take a moment to pay their final respects to the 39th president. And I want to tell you, the lines have been impressive. We checked in just within the last hour, and still there is a line kind of winding around the outside of the Capitol. It is a intensely cold day. The winds are brutal, and this in the middle of a workday, but yet the line has been constant, and it goes far beyond where you can see winding deep into the Capitol. And as we've been talking to people, we hear a lot of people talking about they feel like Mr. Carter felt like one of us. Well, I can tell you, for many lawmakers that work inside this rotunda, he is a continued source of inspiration in their daily work. We talked with U.S. Senator from Georgia, Raphael Warnock, who says Jimmy Carter has been a personal hero. He remembers learning about him as a little boy and is deeply honored to be part of these ceremonies here right now.
I think you look at somebody like Jimmy Carter and you realize that in the end, good wins. You know, there's been a lot made of the fact that he lived to be 100, but you can live 100 years and never do anything for anybody. Jimmy Carter didn't just live to 100, he taught us how to give 100.
And a lot of people, as they go see that casket, are taking with them kind of a memorabilia piece. It chronicles the life of Jimmy Carter. Notably, on the back, it includes time at Georgia Southern and also at Georgia Tech, along with his time in the governor's office in Georgia as well. So the next stop from the Capitol Rotunda will be the National Cathedral. Funeral services there tomorrow morning. President Biden is expected to give the eulogy. So President Carter's state funeral entering its final stage. The procession will make its way from the funeral back to Plains, Georgia tomorrow. 11 Alive political reporter Zach Merchant has spent time in Plains over the course of the last week chronicling Mr. Carter's long legacy, and we are getting very close to the final stop there in Plains. Zach.
Well, it is notable that we just heard from Senator Raphael Warnock, who is a Democrat, but President Carter's legacy, it is a bipartisan legacy. Democrats and Republicans alike are lining up to share the legacy and share how President Carter impacted them. And in particular, many are pointing to what President Carter did after leaving the Oval Office and his faith. He spent decades working to eradicate disease and to promote free elections around the world through the Carter Center. And for years, he taught Sunday school at his home church here in Plains. Representative Buddy Carter, a Republican, highlighted those efforts in a conversation we had just a few hours ago, and he also pointed to President Carter's rise from humble beginnings.
You're in Plains right now, you know, small town, and I think it gives a lot of people hope that, you know, no matter where you're from, how big or how small, how urban or how rural, you can ascend to be President of the United States. Jimmy Carter proved that.
That state funeral began last week here in Plains. It will end here tomorrow. Part of the final moments will include a motorcade procession right through Highway 280 you see behind us through downtown Plains. Members of the public are invited to line the streets and pay their respects. We're live in Plains. Zach Merchant, 11 Alive News.
Zach, I'm so glad you brought that up, because we are certainly hearing from both sides of the aisle, and I think that is really significant, especially at this moment in history. We're 12 days out from an inauguration here in Washington, D.C. We'll have much more coverage on the final stretch of Jimmy Carter's remembrance services ahead of the funeral tomorrow here in the nation's capital in just a little bit. Ariana, I'll send it back to you for now.
Thank you, Cheryl. Remember, we will have special coverage tomorrow all day on the 11 Alive Plus streaming app as the world says its final goodbye to President Jimmy Carter. To watch, you'll need to download the 11 Alive News app to your Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Fire streaming device.